we've got our animations set up, our logic, and I figured out what the issue was. And it's not 100% fixed, and I'm slightly convinced this is still a bug or some sort. But basically, I set my rate scale here to 0.99 instead of 1, just to see if that would kind of like fudge the animation and like force it to update or something. And then I also offset all of these instead of being on frame 20 to be like 1 frame later. And for the most part, it has fixed the problem, as you can see, except for on the last two. But I don't think it's like super egregious. I don't know if it's worth investing too much time into. I think the solution here would be um, for the final shot or shot 5 here, this needs to be like a frame later, and then shot 6, I guess probably we need to make the animation itself longer. So I would have to re-export it from Maya in order to get this to actually keep on going and do that final frame. Super bizarre because as you can see, it's already like by frame 113, it's already back to normal here. So there's no reason that it shouldn't be playing this final part here. But it isn't. And that's okay because overall it still looks good and we're still gonna have really cool stuff. This one's gonna be a lot more fun. Not that the last episode wasn't fun, of course, but this should be a lot more easy to sort of grasp and a nice different application for blueprints, really. So let's go ahead and get the projectile actually set up. So it's no longer this big orange ball, but instead, well, there's two things. One, we want it to be the rocket we've set up. We want it to disappear when we hit the wall. We want it to spawn a physics field. And also, I don't know how well you can see with the frame rate, but currently it's spawning the ball in the center of our screen rather than from the barrel of our gun. So we're going to need to change the position that the projectile spawns to. But let's keep it simple, and we're just going to swap out the mesh real quick. And that will be content very... let's just search actually for it. I think projectile. Yeah, so we have this BP first person projectile here, and we're going to be doing a ton of work in here down the line. But for now, all we need to do is go to our sphere here in the viewport and change it to our rocket. We have rocket ammo. And it's pretty dang small here, so I'm going to set the size to maybe 1. See if that looks okay. Maybe even 3, I think might be a good size. We'll try that out. We'll go 2 for now. And this fits the collision component a little bit better. I guess we probably would... Yeah, so this is what's actually bouncing, and it's the physics body that's making stuff move around. But, so we want this to fit pretty close to that. And for the material, it's going to be m_rocket. And now we've got our super cool shark rocket launcher going here. So let's test it out. See if we're now using the right one. Yes, but it is sideways, and this is a very simple fix. All we need to do is there's a section for a line based on velocity here. Projectile movement is what we want to select, and then rotation follows velocity. So it's actually still sideways, which is fine, because I think we just need to rotate this to be X forward. It might be the other direction, but let's test it out. Beautiful. Definitely looks a little bit funny. But cool. So we've got our actual mesh in here now, our actual ammo we want to use. We can also have some fun with the rocket launcher itself, if we want to. It's going to break things a little bit, but we could set the fire rate to be like 0.1. And by default in UE 5.6, auto fire is always on. So if we just click and hold, We now have lots and lots of projectile bouncy rockets everywhere. Awesome. So from here, there's a couple of things we want to do. We want to, of course, kill the rocket when it hits something rather than having it bouncing around, as much as fun as it is. And also we want to change the spawn location of it. So I won't lie, it's all a bit of a mess, right? It's kind of a maze to figure out where everything is at, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so we're gonna have to figure out where the actual projectile is spawning from. And I want you guys to kind of see my process of like searching for stuff, just so that you know, like, even though I have a lot of experience in blueprints, this is just like how you learn. Is you kind of just, other than, you know, external resources and videos, just going into blueprints and searching around and trying to figure stuff out on your own and see what does what is a really great way of learning them. So I think blueprint first person shooter is where I'm gonna start. And I'm kind of just looking for like a fire event. We can also do Control F and search for fire. Okay, so there's nothing in here. We'll go, so our launcher actually doesn't even have anything. I'm going to close this. The first person projectile, you might think that you set the location in here, but actually this is just like setting it here will not be how it's set up. It's being called and spawned from somewhere else. So let's see, where else might it be? I will check. I don't think it's outside of this area, but let's check BP weapon base. Okay, this looks more promising. So we have start firing, stop firing, fire. Yeah, and so we can read through this logic here. This is not too important. Find target location for the shot, spawn bullet, and aim it at the target location. So this is what we want to look at here. Is this fire bullet function. So if I double click it, pardon the noise outside, it takes us to a sub tab. So I believe what they've done here is they set up a new function. I haven't actually worked too much with these, but basically it's the same thing as creating a custom event, but it's just, you can reuse this in other blueprints too. So I think I'll definitely make a point to mention how to set this up later in the course, but for now it's not too important. We can go ahead and just read this logic here. So it's calling the function fire bullet and it's doing these things in order. So first it's spawning the actor and here's the location for it. Then it's playing a montage, bullet count. This is for like the magazine size and stuff. So I think this is what we're going to want to look at here is this spawn transform. Yeah. Okay, so actually this goes, so if we go from event graph to fire bullet, which is a sub tab, and then in here, we go to calculate bullet spawn transform, which is another sub tab. So it runs deep in here. And this is, again, one of those things that they added in 5.6 is it's a lot more of a robust system. It's a lot more modular and dynamic, but it's also a bit more complicated now. We don't need to worry about this too much because all we're going to do is we're going to trust that they know what they're doing with this spawn transform here. I'm going to alt click to break the reference. And I believe what's going on here is they're finding the rotation based on like the aim of the camera. Yeah, look at rotation here, make transform, and they're putting that in as well as the location, which is based on this muzzle socket name. So we could actually use this. We don't. Oh, yeah. It's because I unplugged this. Let's actually keep this plugged in here. Compile it, should work. Yeah, so we can actually use that to our advantage. Go Whoopsies. Ignore this. Sorry, I just opened my GPU profiler. It should close in a second. We're going to go to our original skeletal mesh. There we go. Which is content, weapons, rocket launcher, skeletal mesh. And I'm actually not using the, well, let's go to, if we click edit skeleton here, we're actually not using this left hand bind, which I had planned on using for setting up the position for how the player will hold the gun or where their hand will go. But it ended up just not looking good when I was testing with it. So I think we're just going to repurpose this joint here to be where the projectile is spawning. So we're in edit skeleton mode here. I'm just going to move it to 0 on X and adjust the Y location accordingly. And this is where our projectile, of course, is going to spawn. And we can make that happen by changing this to be called muzzle. I'm going to save it, and we need to make sure we click accept down here. It's going to take a second to think. And let's test it out. Okay, I think this is working. We're going to change our fire rate back to. As cool as it is, it's too much, right? But I'm going to show you guys a cool trick as well, and it's pretty fun to use. So let's go ahead and change our fire rate. I guess I closed my weapon. So we'll go back and find it again. Weapons, or variant shooter, blueprints, pickups, rocket launcher, weapon. I'm going to change my fire rate back to like 0.3, I guess is fine. We'll compile this, and then back in the weapon base here, or actually let's do it in the projectile. This probably, okay, yeah, this is fine. So we have this event hit here, and maybe what we would want to do is just globally set our playtime to be slower, but I'm just going to set up a little slow-mo effect here so we can visualize where the bullet is spawning. So when the bullet hits something, let's do set time dilation. Set global time dilation is the node. And by default, it's 1. So 1 second happens every 1 second. But if we set it to like 0.2, we're going to get super slow-mo. So let's try it out and show you guys what I mean. Right now, we have real time, shoot, second it hits the wall, everything in game moves in super slow motion. So yeah, now you can see that our projectile is actually spawning from the right point. And, you know, of course we can have a bunch of fun with this slow-mo, and we will later in the course. But for now, I'm just using it as a debug. But you could have something like where you hit a wall with the projectile, it shatters the wall, and for like half a second, everything is super slow-mo, kind of like an anime impact stylized effect. And then after a half second, it goes back to normal speed. Why don't I even just show you guys that real quick? Just as a quick little fun thing to do in blueprints. So we're setting our time to 0.2 when it hits. We're going to use a delay, which is kind of like a wait. And then we'll wait 0.2 seconds, sure, or maybe even 1 second. And then we'll set our time dilation back to 1. And just make sure we plug this in here. So let's see. Oh, and I guess it's okay. Oh. So every time it hits right now, it's resetting the slow-mo. Yeah. It'll need some tweaking. But the idea is here. Yeah, cool. And it's doing it every time it bounces right now, so obviously we need to kill the projectile. But I think this is a good stopping point for this one. We've got the projectile in and working. We'll go ahead and set up the rest of what we need to do in the following episodes.